Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have I hope pretty quick video, but I'm just going to be talking about all my DNFs that I've had so far this year. So I asked over on my community tab if you guys would want to see a video talking about my DNFs because I stopped putting them in my wrap up because I didn't really want to count them towards my end of the year goal or anything like that because I didn't completely finish the books. So I think I have 5 to talk about, and these are like hard DNFs, as in like I DNF'd for a specific reason. I hope that makes sense. It's a soft DNF. It's like I will download a book, I will try out a couple chapters, and if I'm not feeling that book, then I like return it to KU or move on to something else. Like I don't count those because at some point I do plan to go back to them. I just wasn't feeling it at that time. Usually it's because of the trope, because of what kind of book, anything like that, right? So with these, I hard DNF'd them. I probably will not go back to them. Maybe I'll go back to 1, but yeah, like I said, it's 5, so let's just go ahead and jump in. So one thing I need to stop doing this year is buying books before I actually read them, because I thought that I would try out a new to me author, which was Nicole Fanning, and I bought Catalyst. I really like this cover. I think it is really pretty. This is a mafia romance. Oh yeah, she arrives in Chicago for a wedding, and in the hotel, she actually like rescues this girl from being kidnapped, and that girl is actually the daughter of a billionaire mafia boss who owns the hotel, and he runs a mafia, like organized crime group, family, whatever you want to call it, in Chicago. And I was really intrigued by that because I love that. Now, I DNF'd this at 60%. Like I was basically done with the book. What really irks me is on every single page, there is like capital letters. Instead of just using an exclamation point, it's like capital letters. Everything is capital letters. Everything is screaming. Oh my God. Like look at, I can't even see it, but there's so many, I don't know. There was just so many capital, I don't know. There was just so much in this that I wasn't liking. Like I kind of liked the beginning of her saving his daughter, and I thought, okay, this is really good. Like I'm into this. But then I didn't really feel a connection. He was like push and pull with her. He was like trying to get with her, but trying not. It was just not the vibe with the writing style. And so like if I am trying out a new author and I'm not vibing with the writing style, I probably am not going to like that author in general. I DNF because of that. Now, if I'm reading a book and I don't like the content, like the trope or what they did with the third act breakup or what they're doing with the plot or the characters, but their writing is solid, I'll give them another chance, if that makes sense. With this, not my writing style, not particularly what I like. Will I go back and try other books? I don't know, but this one was a hard pass for me. Now I don't know what to do with this physical book. Like, what do I do with this? What do I do with that? So the next one I DNF'd is one that I also bought the paperback for, which I'm really mad about, and that is Queen of Myth and Monsters by Scarlett St. Clair. So I read the first book, which is A King of Battle and Blood, and I think I gave it like 2.5, 3 stars because I felt like it was very wishy-washy with the female character. Like she wanted to be strong and she would show that she would be strong, and then at times she would just be like completely weak for no reason. Like there was no reason for her to be like that. I don't know. Like I liked the romance. I liked the main male character more than anything. I think his name is Adrian. Yeah, her name is Isolde. I liked Adrian, but we never got his point of view in the first book. And I was like, he has so much more depth to him, and I can tell just from like not even getting his point of view, but like I can tell and I want his story. Now, in this book, we started to get his point of view, but this is more of, there's something that happens at the end of the first book, which I won't say exactly what because it's a spoiler, but it picks up right after the first book. This is where this one starts. And I just felt like it was a little bit of plot, sex, a little bit of plot, sex, a little bit of plot, sex, but there was no really romance. And I'm like, but what happened at the end of the first book, you would think they would have this huge romance thing, right? Because of the things that happened. I'm trying to be very vague, and I don't know if it's working. I DNF'd at like 20%. I was listening to the audio and I was like, I'm not feeling this. I don't want to stick with this 300 page. How much is this? Almost 400 page book for it to not be that great. And for me to not like it. Now, this is supposed to be an adult fantasy, and I love vampires, and I just am not feeling it. But let me tell you, the like Game of Fate, A Touch of Darkness series, love it, love that series. I will always be a fan. It's just very nostalgic to me, and I'm like attached to the characters, so I will always recommend that series, not so much this series. So, yeah. So the next book I DNF'd is one that probably, this is like very few times I do this. I do plan to go back to this book, I think. I do hope I do. So a lot of my friends read Restore Me by J.L. Seegers at the end of last year. I knew it was extremely emotional. Basically, our female character, she lost her husband, and then she starts to have a romance with his best friend. Now, that gets a little tricky because they like hate each other, or they like have always hated each other. I've had this like, I don't like you vibe, like even while her husband was still alive. And I started listening to the audiobook of this, which one red flag. The narration for the female character was absolutely awful. It's like having a robot voice read to you. And I think that if you're going to develop an audiobook, especially for such a hyped book, you need to have good narrators that are going to portray the emotions that the character should be feeling. And I literally felt no emotion from her. No emotion whatsoever. I'm like, I don't like this, and it's going to affect my rating, so I'm going to stop in reading it. So I DNF'd it like 30-40%, but some of my friends absolutely love this book, and some of my friends gave it 3 stars, and they said like halfway through the book, it just switches to just being a lot of sex, and there's no like chemistry, and that makes me nervous because I want a really emotional book. Like when I'm in the mood to pick it up, I want to pick it up. So I do hope to pick this up, but like because some of my friends are on one side, some of my friends are on the other about how they feel about it, I don't know where I'm going to land, and I'm just not ready to pick up. How big is this book? Yeah, 400 pages. It's a really, 450 pages. It's a really long book, but I'm not like there yet to pick it up, but this is one of those books that I probably will go back and try again, hopefully by the end of the year. That's my plan, but this is like one-off. I will DNF books for a specific reason and then not go back to them because I'm DNFing them. It's a hard DNF, and this is one where it's a hard DNF because I wasn't feeling it, didn't have time to pick up a long book, wasn't really feeling like this emotional stuff, but also I'm nervous because of some of the ratings I've seen. So with all that being said, I DNF'd it, but it's one that I will go back to, which I usually never do. Okay, so the next book that I DNF'd, which I actually don't have a physical copy of, thank God, is Bliss by A.R. Breck. So I read Where the Mountains Meet the Sea by A.R. Breck last year, at the end of last year, and that is not a romance. I recommend it, but it's not a romance. There's no HEA at the end, but it was a really, really emotional book, and it just really hit me, and I was sobbing, like hardcore sobbing. I love the writing, I love the quotes, I love the character development, I love the plot, I love the romance that was in it, and for me, that makes me want to pick up more of an author's like backlist, right? So I follow her on Instagram, and she has a lot of different things. So McKay, and I think it was McKay and Nikki, they have the Out of Bounds book club, and they picked up Bliss by A.R. Breck for, I think, January for their book club. And I thought, oh, hell yes, I'm totally on board. After Where the Mountains Meet the Sea, I want to read it. I don't know how Where the Mountains Meet the Sea and Bliss are the same, like written by the same author. I don't know how. And it's around the same time. Like I think McKay looked it up, and I think I may have looked it up, and it's not like, you know, if one was really early on in her career, it's like a year apart, and I don't know how the hell it's the same book. So Bliss is a very forbidden taboo, which is why they picked it. Basically, it's our female character, and she goes to live with her dad's best friend, and then has a thing with his sons. One just got back from being in jail, and one is very like the good boy, and I think he plays football or something like that. I think that's what it is. I don't mind that, where it's like 2 brothers that she has to choose from. One's the bad boy, one's like the stereotypical good guy. But at the same time, there was formatting issues too, which I can get past. You know, like if it was good, I could get past it, because not like indie authors don't always have like the same resources. But there was just so much where I was like, is this girl thinking? Like, use your brain. I think I DNF'd at like 40% because I was like, I think I know where this is going. Someone dies and she chooses one other person, and I saw a spoiler on Goodreads that told me who was who, and I was like, a fucking course. I'm not even gonna like this book because I didn't like the person who died and who she ended up with. Like, I didn't like them. So I'm like, I'm just gonna stop myself now. And I think McKay and Nikki both DNF'd it too. Or I think McKay finished it, Nikki DNF'd it. McKay took one for the team and she said it wasn't worth it. We also both agreed. I'm like, how did she write Where the Mountains Meet the Sea but also wrote this? Don't know. I literally don't understand it. Literally do not understand it, but yeah, that's one. And the last DNF that I actually just had here, that I just had like a week or two ago in February, was Brutal Obsession by S. Massery. So I've seen this book going around Bookstagram, I want to say a little while ago at the beginning of the year, and then I saw it on TikTok. And TikTok will like loop me in and think that I need to read this book right now. So my dumbass decided to buy the audiobook. I mean, you can download it in KU, so it's only $7 for the audiobook instead of using a credit. And I did that. And I highly, highly regret it because you can't return those books. You can't return, like if you buy the audiobook when you have it in KU for $7.50, you can't return it and get your money back like you can with a credit, which I need to stop doing that. Also because like I was really interested. She was a ballerina. She was in a car accident, which our main male character caused. And her leg was broken in 2 places and she can't, dance anymore. She's on a dance team in college, but more than that, she can't do ballet. So she's extremely heartbroken by that, which I was like, oh, that is going to hit me right in the feels. So she deals with chronic pain too, and she's constantly, at the beginning at least, she was constantly talking about it, and I thought this was going to be good. I knew it was bully, but I was in the mood for kind of a darker romance, and I can deal with bully. I can deal with, different things. My thing in with this book that I don't think I will ever read this author. This is a personal choice. So I understand bullying and stuff, but him and his best friend at one point calls her gimp is like a derogatory term for someone who walks with a limp. And I don't know, like that just... it rubbed me the wrong way because I'm like, I can deal with bullying and I know this is very personal and it just gave me the ick. Like you can bully and you can say names and you can call her this and that and, have your reasons. Like Sam Mariano, she writes amazing bully romances and I love some of her heroes at the end of the books. The beginning of the books, not so much, but I do love them by the end. And for me, when you have that kind of subject, and I think it's also how the main male character was introduced. So he caused this accident. He was driving over like 100 miles an hour thinking he's a very privileged young man. His dad's a senator. He's gotten out of a million things before. Like he basically does whatever the fuck he wants with no consequences. So when he gets into this car accident, he has a date in the passenger seat. And this all happens at the beginning of the book. It's not spoilers or anything like that. And he gets out of the car, tells the girl, because she's wasted, you're going to take the fall for me and you're going to say that you're driving. But our female character saw who he was when he got out of the car and looked at her. And she's like, help me. And he just walks away, calls his dad, goes home. The police come to the crime scene or to like the scene of the accident. I guess she does try to take the fall, but our main female character, the one who was in the other car, basically says, no, it was this guy. He needs to be arrested. So they go arrest him, but he's out in like 4 hours. Then because his family's so powerful and has a lot of money, makes her sign an NDA. They take a settlement and all this stuff like that. And that just really rubbed me the wrong way because I don't like that kind of main male character. Like if he had trauma or, he was in trouble or he had something in his car and that's why he ran away. Like I can kind of get on board with that. But just being privileged and thinking you can get out of it, that's the reason why he's bullying her, because now they go to the same college or he transfers, goes to her college and starts bullying her because of the accident that he caused. And she was the one who had, she was harmed and going to stick with her for the rest of life. She can't do, like, her life is ruined. What she wanted to do is be a ballerina, be on the dance team, all this stuff like that. He still plays hockey. He still has everything. He didn't really go to jail. He didn't have any charges pressed on him. And I'm like, hard no, not my thing. Did not really work for me. I don't think that kind of bully romance thing is going to work for me. I mean, I've had a lot of people after I say like hard pass for the gimp thing too. I don't think that he's going to be redeemable after using that term. Also all the things that he's doing. So that's just maybe a personal thing. I did have one person out of all the people that messaged me on Instagram say, well, the romance does get better by 50%. Like that's great. I personally do not. If I don't think a character is going to be redeemable, I don't think I will read their book. And this one is hard DNF. Hard, I don't think I will ever read this author again. Just because of that. Now the writing was okay. Like everything sounded fine when I was listening to the audiobook, but that's a hard no for me. That one I went into a lot of detail. I actually felt a certain type of way. Like it's nothing, I guess, towards the author. I mean, I guess I just, because it was dialogue. It's not like she's using it to describe, like in her blurb. It was like, it's straight dialogue from the characters that are bullying her. I just don't know how you redeem a character like that. And I don't care to because of how he was introduced. Like, it's a long book and he may have great character growth, but I just couldn't get to it. Not going to get to it. That's a hard no. So those are the DNFs that I've had so far this year. 1 I will go back to, 4 I will not go back to. But yeah, leave me what kind of emoji? Leave me the X, the red X emoji, because DNFs, hard DNFs, not finishing. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.